at the expense of Cincinnati. Led by running to Paul Palmer, the Owls are 4-5, and with no place to go for the holidays, but they almost beat Rutgers in Boston College and gave Florida State the scare of their lives. It's West Virginia and Temple from the vet in Philly. Stay with us. Here's visiting the Temple Owls. Welcome to the Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. An ideal Saturday afternoon for football. I'm Sam Nover. 44-degree temperature. We have some slight winds roaming around this stadium, but we anticipate an excellent football game and delighted to have you with us. Working with me on the broadcast today is an alumnus of Temple University, former Pittsburgh Steelers tight end and old friend Randy Grossman, and a former alumnus of West Virginia University and Pro Football Hall of Famer Sam Huff. Let's start with Temple. Let's talk about this football team that is probably in the makings of a very good football program somewhere down the road. They will be home for the holidays, Randy, but they've had a satisfying year so far, and this is a very big game for them. Well, it really is a big game. It's a crucial game for them because they have the possibility of having their first winning season for Bruce Arians, which is a big thing. I mean, he had lost a couple games last year. He's starting to get some of his recruits in playing right now. If they can win this game, if they can win next week, they'll have a great season, I think. They beat Pitt. They had 4 games that they would like to have won against big competitive teams. They won one of them. If they win this one against West Virginia, they're 2 out of 4. Well, it makes a real big difference because in 2 more weeks, they're going to be out recruiting real hard. And to beat Pitt, to play real well against West Virginia makes a big difference when you're out knocking on doors. On the other hand, what has happened to West Virginia? We were with this team, Mr. Huff. They were 7-1, cruising along. Every bowl committee in America was looking at them. And then they run into Virginia, and they run into Rutgers, and all of a sudden their season is teetering now, and we don't know which way they're going to go. Well, you know, Sam, if you look at this football team at the beginning of the year, look at their schedule, you know, you got to say, hey, man, they play Boston College, you know, they play Syracuse, they play Pitt, they play Penn State. How are they going to get by that schedule? But then you look at the end, you say, hey, they play Virginia, they play Rutgers, and they play Temple. You say they're going to get out clean, you know, if they just survive the middle of the schedule. They played so well during the middle of that schedule. Then they run into Virginia. They beat Penn State. They hadn't beat Penn State in 29 years. I think they're still celebrating that victory. Yeah, you may be right. You know, come on. They lose to Virginia. They lose to Rutgers. And I'll tell you, I think they're going to have to really play good football to beat this team here today. Temple is ready to play football. We'll meet some of the key players in this football game when we come back after this break. Has missed some action, has been the instrumental spearhead behind their defensive accomplishments, and he had an appraisal of the season so far when we talked to him yesterday.
As far as our season goes, you know, we started out, we lost some early that one game, went 7-1, everything was looking real beautiful for us. A lot of things was about to happen. Then all of a sudden, you know, it seems like what we play with mostly on defense is called intensity. In like the last 2 games, it seems like we haven't been playing with that intensity. But this game, it's like Coach said, he labeled it as a 1-game season for us. And right now, we just got to go out and win this game right here because if we lose this one, then we go back home, suit up. I mean, that's it. We win, we got a chance to go to a bowl, so that's basically it. Well, as Anthony says, it's a 1-game season. This team will get a bowl bid if they perhaps beat Temple. If they don't, they know they're going home for the holidays. Well, you know, that's true, Sam. They have to win here today. I mean, they've kind of been embarrassed in the last 2 games, losing to Virginia, losing to Rutgers. They're looking for that victory today. I mean, they're still not out of that bowl picture. They may be out of the Orange Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, those kind of bowls. But you're looking at the Peach Bowl, you're looking at the Cherry Bowl, you're looking at all these bowl games. West Virginia can go. And one thing that determines bowl games, I don't know if you realize this or not, is the amount of fans that go along, and West Virginia has that kind of support. So I think they're still in bowl contention. How about the quarterback situation? Kevin White has been somewhat shaky this year. He's had some good football games, but I think at times he's not provided the leadership that was expected. Well, that's true. You know, that's the one thing I like about Kevin White is the fact that he is a leader. The team rallies around him. He did not start at the beginning of the year. He does not have a great arm, but here he is throwing a ball to Gary Mullen against Rutgers. That's all the arm he has. He does not have a great arm, but he does have that leadership. The team does rally around him. He can do it. And when he's not throwing to Gary Mullen, his favorite receiver perhaps is Willie Drury. He is the offensive catalyst. He is a great kick return man and punt return man, and I know you like him a lot. Well, I like him a lot. I think he has, you know, I thought he had a little bit better speed than 4.6, but he is a very quick football player. As you say, he does return punts and kickoffs.
and he is their leading receiver. He alternates. He brings in the plays, and Kevin White relies on him. He can catch it. He has good hands. He is their superstar receiver. If they get behind, they should go to Drury.
The one thing about Temple is that obviously they're building for the future. They have only 3 seniors on their entire offensive starting unit. And I think the fact is best demonstrated by John Reenstra, 6'4", 280-pound offensive guard out of Colorado, who has provided some leadership despite the fact he is a rather soft-spoken young man. And he had these comments about the upcoming game.
Well, we've been working hard all year, and some of the games haven't really paid off for us. Temple seems like a couple times this year has been up and down, and that probably shows in our record. So hopefully the rest of the season we can keep up, and because when Temple comes to play, we come to play.
I think that's almost a watchword of their faith, Randy. When Temple comes to play, they come to play. And I think Coach Bruce Arians has suggested, even if we lose this football game, West Virginia's going to pay the price for it. And Anthony Young is the young man who leads the defense.
Well, Anthony's an All-American prospect. He's having a great year. We've got a film clip here of him coming up. Real strong player. He's on the field. He makes things happen. You see him come up here and just take the ball away from a guy. The receiver still could have made the catch. He took it away. He also returns punts for the team, so he knows what to do with the ball after he gets it, and I think you'll see some action from him today.
Even though they slipped somewhat against Florida State and Delaware, and I guess there's no shame in giving up 44 points to Florida State, they score a ton on everybody, they have played excellent defensive football. Paul Dara is the leading tackler on the Temple defense, and he's a young man who obviously provides some inspiration by leadership, some by example, but mostly by leadership on the field.
Well, he's a senior. He's their leading tackler. He leads in both assists and solo tackles. And he really does lead by example. Up here, you'll see him come up, make a catch. And, I mean, just great extension. I mean, he really gets after. He makes things happen. You'll see a lot of things happening from him on the field today. It's a good defensive unit.
Some of the people that you will see, obviously, making key plays during the course of this game. We'll come back and meet the coaches, a young one and one who's been around for a while, after we take this break. Back here at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, we're just a few moments away from the opening kickoff of this game between Temple and West Virginia. We've got a couple of most interesting coaches. Don Nealon, now in the 5th year of his program at West Virginia, firmly entrenched, doing very nicely, thank you. Bruce Arians, a young man only 32 years old, who is trying to establish a program and is very happy with the progress of what his team has done so far. Here are the comments of both coaches.
Well, we've had kind of an unusual season, to be honest. We started out kind of like a house of fire, so to speak, and we've done pretty well. We ended up 7-1 at the end of 8 weeks, but the last couple of weeks we've been kind of pushed around a little bit, and now we're a 7-3 football team. I think overall we've been pretty good. The last couple of weeks we've had our share of problems from an injury standpoint, and that slowed us down a little bit. But other than that, I've been very well pleased with the effort and the enthusiasm and the attitude of our players.
We've been up and down, and we won one, lost one. We couldn't put back-to-back wins together this year. We're a very young team. Defensively, we've played extremely well all year, ranked in the top 25 and as high as the 6th in total defense this year. And offensively, we only have 3 seniors, and we've played that way. We've played very well some quarters and very poorly in quarters, so the inexperience has hurt us at times, and we've played very well at times. So we're still looking to put it all together, and we have once or twice and come oh so close many times. But we still have 2 goals, is to win 3 games in a row this season and to have a winning season. That's what we're looking forward to today.
Well, I think we're going to have to control the football better than we have in the past. We've had too many times where we've had 3 plays and had to punt and come out of the ball game. We're going to have to find a way to do better than that, maintain field position, put some points on the board. Too often we call on Paul Woodside. It'd be nice to go in the end zone once.
Well, first thing you got to stop is Drury and Mullen from getting a big play on you. They have a great offensive line, and they try to mash the football in there pretty good, and they do a great job of it. We play good defense. I'm not worried about our defense getting after it. It's a situation where we cannot give up that big play in the passing game.
Some final comments right after this. With West Virginia leading the series 11 games to 10, it is a positively magnificent day for college football. Temple has averaged about 15,000 per home game here at Veterans Stadium, and of course, Sam, they would like to do much better than that. And I think the feeling is that with a new president who has brought an influx of interest in the football and athletic programs at Temple, And with the new head coach in Bruce Arians and with the team playing respectful football around the country against good competition, that the crowds will follow them into the stadium.
Well, I think so. But, you know, like West Virginia, you have to have a winning program. West Virginia has been committed to a football program for a long time, as well as their basketball program. And Don Nealon is 4-0 against Temple. He's coming into this game here with a 7-3 record. As we have said earlier, they did drop the last two to Virginia and Rutgers, 2 games they probably should have won. And they're looking for bowl bids, but right now they've got to get back on track against Temple and win. That's all that's lacking right now.
Randy, as you said earlier, this team has a chance to win 5 games for the first time since 1981. Actually, they can go 6-5 if they win this week and then beat Toledo. I mean, that's got to do a lot for the program.
Well, it's got to do a lot for the program. It's got to do a lot for Arians also, because it is his second year. And it would mean a lot, as we talked about a little bit earlier, for recruiting. I think we were alluding to the attendance, and Temple has made a major commitment to their program. They've just signed an additional 5-year lease arrangement with the Veterans Stadium to continue playing here. And as Sam mentioned, you know, you've got to win to get people to come and see it. You've got to make it
But he also beat Syracuse. He also beat Boston College. I mean, they're playing big-time football right now. And those 2 losses, you know, I hate to keep mentioning them, but they do stand out. And we have the call right here, right now, to see who West Virginia is going to call it. They're the visiting team.
They want the ball now. You have to kick. Which goal will you defend? Put your back there, please. West Virginia won the toss, and they elected to receive.
Well, you've heard it from referee Joseph Klimshot. West Virginia has won the toss. They have elected to receive. And we are just a moment or so away from the start of this football game here at the Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. We'll be back with the opening kickoff in just a moment. Want to get the football to. At least West Virginia does, and Temple will try to kick it away from him. Willie Drury is the #1 kick returner in America, averaging 28 yards per return. And so Cooper will try to do everything within his power to avoid Drury, I would imagine. Let's see what happens. Good to have you with us. National Independent Football Network Game of the Week, and it goes to the far side and taken in front of Drury by one of the up men, and he's at the 30-yard line and out of bounds on the far side, and that is King Harvey. And so they were successful in keeping the ball away from Drury. The only problem is that West Virginia starts out with excellent field position at about its own realized. Hollifield is the deep back in the eye, but the give is to Wolfley straight ahead. And Ron Wolfley carries a tackler across the 35 to the 37-yard line before he's knocked out. He's played extremely well in recent weeks. So is Jeff Ward. Small defensive linemen and even smaller linebackers. Schubeck is almost a 5th defensive back. Locust, Bowles, Young, and Herder may be the strength of the Temple football team. First down and 10, West Virginia at its own 42-yard line from the I formation. White steps up in the pocket, avoids one tackle. Rolling to the right, throws it downfield, and it is dropped. Mullen came back for the ball, and he had his hands on it about the 40-yard line. Andy Locust had the coverage, but he should have caught the opposition.
Offense. Play if you want. Right, Randy?
Aggressive by who? Watch for is in West Virginia, especially with a guy like Wolfley up there, is they really like to establish a running game, and primarily because of the size of the linemen that they're going against. If they can just hammer it out, they'll be something they'd like to try and accomplish, I think.
Third down and about 18. Temple almost came offside. White looks to his right, now back to his left, delivers a football, and it's overthrown. He tried to get the ball to Willie Drury on the far side of the field, but he was double covered at the 50-yard line. And so West Virginia now, with that costly holding penalty, stopping their drive, will have to give it up. And Steve Superick is Sonny Young, number 26, who Randy told you at the outset of our broadcast today, is not only an excellent punt return man, but is the catalyst for the defensive unit, an outstanding safety. Superick will hit this one at about his 22 or 23. Good snap. High, very short punt. Fair catch being called for at the 38-yard line. And that's where Temple will go to work. Purvis Herder made the catch, a very short punt. There's a timeout on the field. And when we come back, Temple will go on offense for the first time. Characteristically short punt for Steve Superick, who's been averaging nearly 43 punts this year. That one traveled but 27 yards and leaves Temple in excellent field position. The Owls begin at their own 39-yard line. Lee Saltz is the quarterback. And a man in motion, and the give straight ahead to Paul Palmer, the tailback, for a couple of yards, across the 40 to maybe the 42-yard line. Will set that offensive unit. Saltz, as I mentioned, the quarterback, and Palmer is the big the big offensive threat here. Shelley Poole is the blocking back. Marshall and Carter, the wide receivers, with Andrew in the tight end. And John Reenstra is the man to look for on the offensive line. He's provided great leadership, and while he's only a junior, is probably the best offensive lineman, but they're just starting to gel. 2nd down and 7, Temple from its own 42-yard line. And again, some motion. And play action pass. A flag is down. Saltz delivers the ball, and it's intercepted. Intercepted at the 35-yard line. Back to the 40, the 45, to midfield, and still running with the football is West Virginia's Travis Curtis. And he has the ball down around the 40-yard line, and we'll have to just wait this penalty.
Offside, defense, 2nd down.
That was fortunate, huh? That was fortunate for Temple. That's just, that would have really made a big difference for West Virginia coming in.
It sure would have. That took a little momentum right away from him.
So the interception is for naught. The offside call against the Mountaineers, and Temple now goes to work at its own 47-yard line with a 2nd down and 5. And the give to the fullback across the 50-yard line down into West Virginia territory at the 48, and good enough for the first territory for the first time today. From the 48-yard line in the I formation, Lee Saltz, the quarterback. And he gives straight ahead to Palmer. He's met right at the line of scrimmage and forges forward for a couple of yards, but he got a couple of yards.
I think this is really going to be telling in the beginning of the game, Sam. We have two teams. Obviously, Temple's playing a big-time team, West Virginia. Got West Virginia coming off 2 games where they're not real sure of themselves either. A couple breaks early and people get some confidence in themselves. It could make a big difference.
One thing West Virginia has done, they've adjusted their defense. They're playing 3 linemen and stacking those linebackers in tighter, trying to stop the run.
2nd down and 8. I formation. Saltz. Long count. On the option. Pitches it to Palmer. Trying to get
him against the Mountaineers, but I think the adjustment they've made in their defense so far has worked against Temple.
3rd down and 12 now for the Owls. It is tight end Scott Andrian in motion. They sent 2 men in motion. Set up the screen on the right side. Pass completed to Palmer at the 40, the 35. Cuts it back at the 30. Inside the 25, and he's still on his feet to the 20-yard line. What a great call by Lee Saltz, the young quarterback in his sophomore year, as he looked left, set up the screen on the right side, and picked up 31 yards.
Well, I think this is when you were saying about Palmer, wanting to get outside. They want to get him the ball outside. He's not a big guy. You'll see how fluid he is once he gets the ball. He gets right up in there where the blockers are. He gets some good help right there. Keeps going. He'll come back in right here behind this block. Real fluid, smooth runner. They're down in there.
Well, they had the right play called, Sam, against the right defense. Mountaineers had the blitz on, and they got beat in it. That screen just took them apart.
Boy, did Palmer make a move on Dave Preston. First down at the 19-yard line now, West Virginia. Saltz turns and he gives to his fullback. Breaks the tackle inside the 15 to the 13. Shelley Poole, a sophomore out of Norcross, Georgia, at 5'9", 218 pounds. Very tough to bring down, low center of gravity. You know about those guys with low centers of gravity, don't you, Grossman?
Poole missed it, yeah.
When they get in down around that 10-yard line.
2nd down and 3. They've got a slot to the left and still running from the I formation. The offense is basically similar. Here's a pitch to Palmer at the 15. Trying to get it outside to the 10, and he dives to the 10. He's in the grasp there of Andrew Jones, the cornerback, freshman out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And he may be just a few inches shy of the first down. And we're going to isolate Randy here on Reenstra on that play, the All-American candidate.
He's coming out. He's a big guy. We see him running real well. Woo, boy, sandwich. I hear these guys from West Virginia are tough.
They are. It takes 2 guys to block him, evidently. Good defense that time. 3rd down and 1.
3rd down and less than 1. Hash marks on the near side of the field. Lee Saltz, the quarterback. In the I formation, no score, first quarter, but Temple is threatened. Saltz gives to Palmer, big hold at the 7-yard line.
Throw the runner back. You can't afford to give up those first downs. First down and goal for the Owls.
7-yard line. Temple trying to draw first blood in this football game. They're a 4-5 team. Of course, the biggest feather in their cap this year was beating Pitt, but they almost beat Boston College. They gave Florida State all they could handle, and they're threatening to jump in front of West Virginia. Second back is Palmer to the 5 and maybe the 4-yard line. He got a hit at the line of scrimmage, and he fell forward for a couple of yards. It'll be 2nd down and goal inside.
He's got to sweat this out. If Temple gets on top, they're going to be tough.
2nd down and goal inside the 5. And they put Moore in motion. Here's the pitch to Palmer. He gets a block. He's going to go in untouched. Touchdown, Temple. They sent not more, but Shelley Poole, number 44 instead, the blocking back in motion. He got the key block on the linebacker on the outside, and Palmer went in untouched for the 6 points.
Well, Anthony Daniels, number 8, has to maintain his position on the outside. He's the force man. He got picked off. And, of course, when you get picked off like that, you don't maintain your position. Easy 6 points.
That's the way you want the corner when you're offense. It's a nightmare when your defense coming around there and nobody out there to help you.
That's right.
So Jim Cooper will attempt to tag on the extra point here. Yarsinski holds. The snap, the placement, the kick by Cooper is up, and it is good. And this crowd is alive. It is not a very big one at Vet Stadium, but they are enjoying very much Temple's 7-0 lead. There's a timeout on the field. Temple 7, West Virginia nothing.
They played hard enough to win. Temple has.
From the 20-yard line, Lee Saltz, the quarterback. Staying in the pocket, throws a short pass. It's complete. And staying inbounds on the far side is the receiver, Paul Palmer, out of the backfield. He gained about 4 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 6 now. Temple wants to run their 2-minute offense.
Good hit by
Fred Smalls. They are ready to go again.
Real good hit by Fred Smalls to keep that ball in bounds.
Here's Saltz as we come back to live action. Throws it out to Palmer in the flat. He juggles it, steps out of bounds to stop the clock. And he's shy of the 1st down. He picked up only 3 yards on that completed pass. So it'll be 3rd down and 3. Matt Smith had the coverage. And while they rehuddle, let's pause 5 seconds for station identification. This is the TCS Metrosports Television Network.
This is WTAF, TV 29 in Philadelphia.
I hope you've been without us throughout. This is the doggonest football game you'll ever want to see. Sam Nover with Sam Huff and Randy Grossman at the Vet in Philadelphia. West Virginia leads by 1. 1:34 to play in the game. If somebody asked me to tell them the story of this game, I'd be talking at midnight, wouldn't I, Huff?
Yep.
Forever and ever. 3rd and 3, Saltz. Set up a screen. They should be able to get the 1st down. They do. 35-36. And now let's see whether Bruce Arians elects to call a timeout.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I was watching the clock, and as soon as he crossed that 1st down marker, the timekeeper stopped the clock. There's 1:24 to go.
Well, they do that to move the sticks anyway, Sam.
I understand it. When the official stopped the clock, you're supposed to do it, but not as soon as he crossed it. Do you understand what I'm talking
Sure
about?
do. Here we go. Saltz now throws to his safety valve, and Palmer gets out of bounds. No gain on the play, but they stop the clock with 1:14 to go.
I was going to say, Randy, I don't understand why they're throwing it underneath like that and not getting the ball off the field. Time is becoming a factor for them.
Well, I think one of the big things may be Palmer is their number 1 receiver. I think Saltz may be a little bit concerned. I mean, he doesn't want to, he's concerned about going deep. Dumps off to Palmer. He knows he may pick up a couple. He can stop the clock.
Well, it's becoming a factor now. 1:14 to go. The ball laying right at the 36-yard line.
He has reason to be concerned, I think, as Randy pointed out. He's been intercepted twice today and thrown some terrible passes. Saltz with 2nd down and 10. Throws the home run ball out of bounds. Said single coverage down the far sideline, was intending the ball for his wide receiver, or rather Paul Palmer, out of the backfield. And again, as Randy pointed out, I mean, he's just looking for Palmer.
And Saltz are really on the same wavelength. That was a beautiful catch out of bounds.
This is reminiscent, by the way, of the Pitt game when Saltz hit Willie Marshall very late in the game with a 50-yarder to get them into range to kick a field goal and win it. But Saltz is in trouble now. He's running around, throws a pass complete at the 45, 1st down to the 48. It's Don McMullen, the tight end, and they keep their drive alive. 58 seconds to play. They're ready to go again. Clock stops while the sticks move. Give Saltz credit. He ran around till he found an open receiver, and he put it right on the money to McMullen. Now the clock begins again. 1st down at the Temple 49-yard line. And this one is dropped on the far sideline of the 37.
Right, and I think the fact that Stacey Smith hit him in the backyard and lose from it.
Yeah.
2nd down and 10 Temple at their own 49-yard line. 49 seconds to play in the game. Saltz again, wide open, caught inside the 40-yard line by Willie Marshall. His first catch of the day. This is unbelievable. These look like grade school passing offenses until 5 minutes or 2 minutes minutes to play in the game, and now they all look like they're out of the Sonny Jurgensen school.
Well, they do what they have to do, evidently.
Evidently.
We were waiting for Drury, we were waiting for Marshall, we were waiting for something to happen. It was a matter of time. They sure saved it for an opportune time.
I'm not sure Jurgensen would appreciate this passing compared to his.
Don't tell him I said so.
Okay.
From the 39-yard line, Temple with another first down and 42 seconds to play. They have not used a timeout in this drive. Here's the blitz. Saltz gets away, and he got back to about the 41-yard line, and now I think that Arians will have to call timeout, and he does. He's got to stop the clock with 32 seconds to play. He could ill afford to allow any more seconds to run off. It'll be second down and 12 when play is resumed.
Arians' big decision now is how close do you want to go? I mean, what the play that you choose, how close do you want to get to it? I mean, he's got maybe two more plays, one more play. I mean, he's going to try to go all the way down and get him real close, or just get him close enough so Cooper can hit it through.
Well, frankly, he's got 3 more plays. I don't think there's any problem getting, or actually 2 more plays, and he can run from scrimmage in the allotted time. And then, you, of course, use his 4th down for the field goal attempt. Of course, if you're going to throw the ball, Sam, as you know, you run the risk of being sacked, and 1 sack puts them out of any. I mean, they're out of field goal range for Cooper now. They would have to be 58 yards. You have to assume they got to get 10 yards to give the kid a fair chance.
Well, I think he should get about 10 yards closer, but West Virginia has been laying back, but they did not lay back that time. They put the blitz on him. They sacked him, and of course the clock keeps running when you sack him like that. You got to, you know, so Arians really has to make a choice here. I think he has to have 2 plays. He's got to throw the ball and throw it quick. In case he gets the blitz, he's got to unload that ball quick so he doesn't get the sack. And then if he gets it, he's got to get that clock stopped again.
What I think it would be really nice to get Palmer the ball out wide somehow with a quick pitch or a quick pass out to the side. He can get out if he has to.
That's right.
Here we go. Second down and 12. Temple, and it's at the 41 of West Virginia. Saltz looking down the sideline, and he completes the pass inside the 30. A diving catch made by Willie Marshall again. And the most important part of it is he stops the clock with 28 seconds to go and moves the sticks. Another first down and a beautifully thrown pass.
That one was right on the money. You couldn't even drop that one if you wanted to, wasn't it? That was a great pass.
Just got to wonder what they've been waiting for, though, you know?
I don't know. Boy, that was a perfect pass, and they say you can't stop a perfect pass.
27-yard line is the line of scrimmage. 11 out of 18, 139 yards, 2 interceptions for young Lee Saltz, only a sophomore. Maybe we've been a bit hard on him at times, but he's showing his class now. Now the running play to the 25, Brian Slade, and that may be the answer to Randy Grossman's question. How far do you want to go? Well, he's content to run the ball now. He's at the 25. He knows he's in range for Cooper. 13 seconds to play in the game. He'll run one more play, and there's the pass to stop the clock with 8 seconds to go. And here comes the kicking team. And here's your football game, ladies and gentlemen.
They had one more. How much time? They had another timeout, didn't they?
I don't believe they did. I think they had utilized 2 earlier in the half, and that was actually. I think he still has one, and he didn't really use it.
I think they just get it in the middle of the field, you know, just to drop in the middle of the field.
This is not any chippy.
Oh no. It is an attempt of 44 yards by Jim Cooper, who has one of over 50 to his credit this year.
51 yards.
Garzinski will hold the ball. Let's see where they spot it. Now they move up, and the tee is sitting outside the 31. So let's call it a 42-yard. Well, I think actually they give you credit for a field goal, Sam, to the next longest yard.
They do?
Don't they?
Okay, 41 and a half.
What do I know?
What do you know? 41 and a half.
I'll take that. 41 and a half yard attempt to win the game. There's the placement. The kick by Cooper is no.
West Virginia was offsides, I think.
Flag is down. A flag is down. Hold everything. Cooper may get another chance. He will get another chance.
Oh, he kicked that terrible, too.
I agree with you, Don. I don't believe it either. If I hadn't been here, you couldn't convince me this football game took place today no matter what.
7 penalties now, 47 yards against West Virginia.
Well, that was a godsend for Temple there. Don Allen's got to be pulling his hair out.
I can imagine.
Offsides against West Virginia. 5 yard, 7-yard line. 37 yards to win the game. Cooper failed from 42. Can he hit from 37? He sure can, and Temple's going to win the game. Speechless. You could do football games for the next 30 years and never see one like this. But to the credit of Temple, they came back, got the field goal as time expired on the clock. Jim Arians getting the affection of presumably somebody he knows very well, maybe his wife. And he rolled some dice today, lost on occasion, and there's the president of the university right in the middle of it all. How about that? President Peter Liakoris, who you had a chance to meet at halftime, right down on the field with the players hugging them, and the emotion is running rampant here. Sam, what are you thinking at the moment? I know, old Mountie fan.
I'll tell you one thing. I think the coach for Temple ought to thank his lucky stars, because, boy, he gave West Virginia every opportunity to beat him. They just didn't take it away from him. And he made some coaching decisions today that I know he won't make in the future, because he learned from it. He should have lost this game just by those decisions. But he came back. West Virginia made an awful lot of mistakes with the kind of quality player team that they have. They made too many mistakes to win.
Must make you awfully proud, Randy.
Well, I'm very proud, but the thing that I was most impressed about, whether being a Temple alumni or not, was the performance of Saltz at the end of the game. He was a young kid with a young offense, and he really took command. I mean, he took them up the field, and it was a great showing.
Okay, we hope to have a few minutes to speak with the winning coach, Bruce Arians, and we'll have our post-game report all after this. The final score, the Temple Owls 19, West Virginia 17. We'll be back. Stay with us.
Without Tomczak running the option play, as he had right now trying to fake the fullback, they still put a lot of points on the board. This was a great offensive team. The defense did not match it in the early going, but in the last 3 ball games, I think they're a much improved team from the Wisconsin game that we did 3 weeks ago, where Wisconsin ran up 400 and some odd yards against them. But they have played exceptionally well the last 3 conferences.
Riverboat gambler from the word go, sir. I want to tell you, Randy Grossman and Sam Huff sat up here wondering about some of the decisions you made during the course of this day. And I'd like to ask you about some of them, if I may. But first of all, what is the emotion you're feeling about winning this game?
Oh, I think it's a matter of learning to never quit believing in your players and in yourself. I think our players overcame a lot of my decisions, like you just said.
The kick by Cooper the first time obviously was no good, and you got a second life on the 5-yard penalty. I mean, did you feel you were destined to win this game no matter what today?
It felt that way. We cheated ourselves a lot of times down on the goal line, not getting the ball into the end zone, and just a matter of the kids never ever quitting, and they fought hard all year, and we've lost a couple games like this year, and now we've won 2, so we just feel very good right now.
Bruce, you talked about some of the decisions that you might ordinarily make differently if given the opportunity. You were inside the 5 of goal line situations twice when the game was tied at 10. You wouldn't take the 3 points. Would you do it if you had to do over again or not?
No doubt about it. You know, anytime I can look back now and know we weren't going to get in, I'd take a field goal, but at that point in time, I didn't think the game was going to be this low scoring. I thought we needed a touchdown, and we just wanted to get the ball in the end zone.
Why the onside kick with a 6-point lead so late in the football game?
Well, to be honest with you, it was not an onside kick. It was a squib kick. We tried to kick the ball deep on the ground, and Jimmy hit it a little bit on top. It was not a designed onside kick. It was it's supposed to have been a deep kick into the wind. We wanted to kick the ball on the ground.
Sam Huff is up here with me, Coach Arians. If you don't mind, Sam's got a question for you.
Well, Coach, you know, I was really concerned about that, because I thought, you know, I said, hey, now there's a real gambler. You know, he's got a 6-point lead. He tries an onside kick. You know, that caught me by surprise, but you already answered.
It caught me by surprise, too, Sam. It was one of those balls that just bounced off the turf and took all the steam out of it and sort of went right to him, and was not by design.
Well, this Palmer kid's a pretty good little football player for you. He seems like he can do most everything.
Paul's an excellent young athlete and a heck of a young man. We're very proud to have him.
Coach, I know you want to get in the dressing room with your winning team. Is this the biggest victory that you've ever had?
This is right next to Pittsburgh. Of course, Pitt's season didn't come out like they had hoped, and West Virginia was a very tough opponent, and we can now have that chance to go and have a winning season and win 3 games in a row, so it's got to be the biggest win, yes.
Well, we'll see you up in Atlantic City. Congratulations to you, Bruce. Nice victory. Very nice.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Head coach Bruce Arians of the Temple Owls. They win this football game by a score of 19-17, and we're going to get a chance to visit with the star of the game, Paul Palmer, in just a moment. But Sam, I'm wondering whether or not Bruce is probably a little bit numb now, having won the game in the manner in which he did. But I guess going back into the dressing room and having a chance to develop the camaraderie that he has with his players will be very meaningful to him, because he looks like he's one of the boys, and I think that's kind of the situation he wants to develop.
Well, I think he's kind of got that feeling. You know, and Randy and I were talking during the broadcast. We said, you know, the team that has the ball last will probably win this game, and that's the way it turned out, Randy.
Okay, Paul Palmer is downstairs, and Paul, congratulations on a great victory. I know you. I don't have your final stats. What do we have on him, Joe? 130 yards, I think. You were well over 130 yards at one point rushing the ball. Tell me about the 53-yard touchdown run, will you?
Well, we had put this play in just for this occasion, just for this certain game. Lee did a real good job reading the D tackle, you know, knowing if he had to pitch the ball or not. Once I caught the ball, looked upfield, I got a real nice block from the tight end, a real nice block from the wide out. I just tried to do my best and, you know, do the things that come naturally, I guess, do the things that I've been doing all year.
Well, what does come naturally to you? Obviously, you love to get to the outside, and once you turn the corner, you've got the great speed. We're looking at your touchdown run now. I mean, it was no contest. I mean, if you're talking about a foot race to the goal line, you won it by 5 yards. But you also seem to enjoy going inside, and you took some punishment there.
Yes, sir. I try to pride myself in my versatility. My blocking, you know, I'm working on my blocking. I'm getting better at that. My pass receiving, my running inside as well as outside. I try to, you know, just do as many things I can to help my team win.
I think Coach Arians prides himself in knowing that his team never gives up on itself. Was there a time today when you wondered whether or not the football gods were going to let you go ahead and win the ball game?
After we had gotten down there near the goal line, you know, those 3 times when they had a goal line stand, I was kind of wondering if anyone was looking out for us. But I knew, you know, I have faith in myself and my teammates and the coaching staff and everything. I have faith that we'd bounce back.
Paul, let me ask you a question. This is Sam Huff. How much did you learn from watching the films against Rutgers? You run similar type plays, it seemed like today, the same ones that Rutgers were so successful against the West Virginia defense.
You know, from watching the films, we had seen that they are a good team, but they aren't as good as they may think, or they aren't as good as other people may think. We knew coming into the game we'd have a real good shot, you know, to win the game, especially after seeing the Rutgers game.
Rutgers ran them pretty good, and so did you, Paul.
All right, Paul, thanks. Hey, you got your buddy Jimmy Cooper down there. Why don't you just slide those headset microphone right on his head, will you?
All right, thank you.
Good ball game, and we'll get Jim on the air momentarily, the young man who made the winning kick of 37 yards after having missed a 42-yarder that he'd probably like to have all over again. Jim, congratulations on your winning kick. How about the 42-yarder? I bet you were glad to have a second chance.
Oh, you better believe it. I don't believe that I had 2 chances to kick the ball. Let's see it here on film.
Yeah, can you see yourself now?
Yeah, you see it perfect.
Yeah, I think this is the good one. Tell me about the bad one first.
All right, the bad one, I knew we were kicking into a strong wind, and it was on my mind a little bit. And what I tried to do was just hit the ball a little more in the middle, which would give me a little more distance on it, maybe drive it a little lower. But I just consequently hit it a little bit too much in the middle, and it gave me that air ball you saw. It floated, and even that one just missed by couple inches.
I think you demonstrated some character. I mean, even given a second opportunity, some people don't capitalize, and you're to be congratulated for having, with the football game hanging in the balance, for having made the kick to win it, and I congratulate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, very much.
Okay.
And all of your teammates. It was a fun game. I can't say it was the most artistic football game we've ever seen, but we loved every minute of it. Temple wins the game 19-17 over West Virginia. We'll be back with our post-game report right after these messages. For 50 yards were almost vital to the outcome of the game, not the least of which was the last penalty, a 5-yard offside after Jim Cooper had missed a winning field goal attempt. A 5-yard offside penalty against West Virginia gave Cooper another chance, and he converted that one from 5 yards closer and then won the ball game by a score of 19-17. And again, our final score here at the Vet in Philadelphia, the Temple Owls beat the West Virginia Mountaineers and even their record at 5-5. The final score, Temple 19 and West Virginia 17. Along with my colleagues Randy Grossman and Sam Huff, this is Sam Nover saying so long from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where the final score was Temple 19 and West Virginia 17. Production and technical facilities supplied by NEP Productions, Abaca, Pennsylvania. This has been an exclusive TCS Metrosports presentation.